good afternoon, good evening. To pause amidst a continual barrage of fresh horrors is a radical act. We can stop the constant activity to honor the dead, the lost, the discarded, the deported, the endings, to defy the systems reliant on this violence and fear and greed. Let us pause and be confused, despairing, rageful, grieving, and perhaps still hopeful together. We offer these 15 minutes of oasis of respite each day to give you a break from the grind and the anxiety of our workplaces. We want to offer a practice that is grounding and regulating and feasible in your busy day. This is your time to just receive, to just listen. And we invite you to do whatever you need to do to be comfortable and present to yourself. We do this to reconnect with others around us, with the places and the spaces we inhabit throughout our day. We do this because in this reconnection is where possibility lives. This is our last day of the current alphabet. We offer a question each day that helps us reconnect and to also stimulate us and take us forward. And so, given that we've gone through the alphabet, I wanted to offer these questions one last time, maybe to hear them for the first time if you're listening, to hear them again, or to hear something differently. Action was, what if pausing were an action we couldn't afford to skip? Bow, on whose shoulders do you stand? See, conviction, what or whom do you stand for? Demand, what is love asking of you? Evolve, what's the next small step? Fun, what do you need to shake off? Grief, what do you need to let go of? Healing, what do you need to be able to try again? Invite, who do you need to join you? Juxtaposition, how can we make more room for difference? Kindness, how can you build your skills for feedback? Local, to what places are you devoted? Motivation, how do you return to your why? No, what is no longer for you? Opinion, how do you question your views? Pace, what can you make time for? Question, what are you willing to challenge? Ritual, how do we acknowledge togetherness? S, sufficiency, how much is adequate? Time, how do we recognize critical moments? Uncertainty, what is the next step under your control? Validation, whose approval do you seek? Wholeness, what rejoining is necessary? Youthfulness, what brings out your exuberance? And today's word is Zoom. What do you need to see up close? Now, Zoom is this word we are literally, in my world, using every day. We are on the platform of Zoom in this very moment. It's where we spend our time. So what does it really mean? Moving quickly and speed and growth and increasing rapidly. Those are all the words I associate with Zoom initially. But I thought about this secondary definition as well today. And it's what I want to uplift, which is zooming in like a camera lens, seeing something in more detail, being able to articulate the nuance, right? Now, it is springtime where I live, and so I have been spending a lot of time in the garden, preparing the dirt and planting and weeding and all those good things. Scientists are reiterating what our maybe our ancestors always knew, which is that digging in the dirt, having your hands in the soil, is very good for your health. Um, there's a serotonin boost, so it's an antidepressant. We're getting exposure to all this good bacteria, so there's like a higher immune function. Of course, we're getting vitamin D from the sun, and we're moving our bodies, so there's cardiovascular benefits. But what I love so much about gardening is being able to see the soil up close, to see all the fragments that make it up. The soil is never one thing, it's this incredible mixture of so many elements. And there's decomposition, there's things that are dying, but there's also this incredible potential in it because it will bring up the sprouts, the seeds will have the conditions to become alive. And then you've got the roots and the worms, and all of it is so luscious because of the color and the smell and the differing textures. So to be up close to that soil always for me feels like some kind of transfer of energy, some kind of knowledge transfer, even because it allows me to connect to a deeper knowing, a deeper sense of peace. And so at a time when everything's being shaken up, when maybe even the very notion of professionalism itself is is being required to be reshaped and redefined. I'm asking myself a lot right now, what else do I need to understand? What else do I need to see up close? And maybe that's about the world, but probably it's mostly about myself. um, it's a lot. And so I have been reaching for things that brought me comfort during COVID, or not even comfort, but like some reassurance. And one of those is this book by Alexis Pauline Gumbs that came out in 2020 called Dub. Um, in this work, Alexis Pauline Gumbs, who, by the way, whose career could never be shaped or described as within the confines of professionalism or academic or artist, even. I think it's just so many things, and I really admire um, how she has described and relates to her work. Um, so that's also why I thought about this in relationship to the very notion of professionalism changing. And I'm just going to read you one of the dog-eared pages. Um, in this work, Alexis's Caribbean ancestors are speaking to her, um, sharing stories, sharing what they want or need her to know, um, and maybe even reflecting about herself. First, she gave away all her books. No, that wasn't really the first thing. That took a lot. First, she took care to memorize the names she heard as prayer and to pray them back 3 times at least. Then she started to trust herself to remember what she had learned from all the books, the reading of them and the writing of them. She had to trust the things that were not books and were not made by people. She had to trust the things that were not things, but God itself growing on earth, earth itself as rock and information. She had to trust those things which were only as real as she was, to prompt her memory or her knowing, or more than that, her pulse, her impulse to come out and make sound or movement. She had to trust that those sounds and those movements could be enough for whoever was out there, and that she could live with it, forgive with it if they said, no, it isn't enough. Because how could she know the prayers of other people? How could she measure the listening of other people? How could she gauge the trust of other people when she was learning, still learning, to trust herself and move? In the trust, she found out there were no other people, no out. She found in, and behold, to let go. Everything was there. And it was then that she gave it all away, no matter how it looks. And the first thing she gave up were all of those books. I'm asking myself, what do I want to see up close? I'm asking, what's the last thing I was really curious about that I went deep in? When it comes to your own learning in your life, in your profession, is there something that feels unresolved or unfinished or just pending, something that's been knocking on the door for a while? We are all learning in this time to take our deeper knowing more seriously, to really read our own intuitions, our ability to see more. What do you want to understand better right now? What do you want to go deeper into? What do you want to see up close? As always, this session is offered at no cost, but we do remind ourselves and each other in this time that free flowing resources, liquidity is more important than accumulation. So if you are willing and able, please practice letting those resources flow at this time, and you can help keep this experiment and this space going. We can pause and practice the interdependence right here and now. You're also very welcome to reach out anytime, and I will share those links in the email to follow. And as always, we end with a reading from the Terma Collective. May our eyes remain open, even in the face of tragedy. May we not become disheartened. May we find in the disillusion of our apathy and denial a cup of the broken heart. May we discover the gift of the fire burning in the inner chamber of our being, burning great and bright enough to transform any poison. May we offer the power of our sorrow to the service of something greater than ourselves. May our guilt not rise up to form yet another defensive wall. May the suffering purify and not paralyze us. May we endure. May sorrow bond us and not separate us. May we realize the greatness of our sorrow and not run from its touch or its flame. May clarity be our ally and wisdom our support. May our wrath be cleansing, cutting through the confusion of denial and greed. May we not be afraid to see or speak our truth. May the bleakness of the wasteland be dispelled. May the soul's journey be revealed and the true hunger fed. May we be forgiven for what we have forgotten and blessed with the remembrance of who we really are. Thank you for being here. Take good care.